Welcome everybody to the Daily Space Weather. I'm your host Dan, aka smAsho. Today we'll be talking about the sun. Jason Vorhees, excuse me. Have you heard Volcano? And mandate this. Let's get to it. Here's the sun in 131 angstroms. One of the crowd favorites. Sunspot 2782 in the lower left. Sunspot 2781 in the lower right. And you can see a little bit of flaring happening on Sunspot 2782. Right at the beginning there. See those bright flashes. And we've got some more great images of the sun. First, happy Friday the 13th. Please don't allow this to be the way your day ends up. It could make for a bad day. The radio flux, the 10.7 centimeter radio flux, by the way, which is a radio emission from the solar outer corona. Currently at 85 solar flux units. Still the highest level seen since 2017. And there you can see the 1-year chart on that from solon.info. And I just pulled up a brief little paragraphs here to show you how proportional the radio flux is to the sunspot number. The 10.7 centimeter radio flux is probably the second most important measurement, if not the most important measurement for solar activity. You can see how proportional that is right there on those two graphs, showing you the entirety of cycle 24, the end of cycle 23, and the beginning of cycle 25. And next we've got some killer helioviewer movies for you. Let's get into it. Here is the 193 angstroms. 1 day video here. I think it is. It looks like it's missing some data here. It's rotating awfully slowly. Well, it's a few hours of data in 193 angstroms. No major coronal holes right now. Here's 304 angstroms. Some filamentary behavior up there in the northwest, as well as on the eastern limb near the equator. I must have forgotten to press loop. Great view there in 304 angstroms, courtesy helioviewer.org. And next we'll show you some close-ups here. Looks like a bit of ejecta might have come out of sunspot 2781 there. Nothing to really write home about. No Earth-facing coronal mass ejections visible in any of the coronagraph imagery. And we do look at that daily, so you don't have to. Part of the reason we make the videos is to be a resource for other solar researchers, forecasters, etc. So tell your friends, foes, science noobs, and science pros. There's sunspot 2782, a nice, serious close-up there. And here's sunspot 2781. And a great view of that activity therein. As it moves into a setting mode, and we should get some more, actually even better images of this as it sets. Look for that coming up in the next couple days. We do the daily space weather video every day. I think we've missed one day in about 2 years. And welcome to another smAsho segment. Today's smAsho segment is going to be very brief, and we're just going to talk about a couple things. First of all, smAshomash.com. Go check that out if you haven't. All of our links are right here underneath this arrow, as well as our VoIP line, email address, etc. Check it out, smAshomash.com. Welcome to the Neo-Renaissance, as various aspects of science get rewritten. Also, don't forget to follow us on Twitter, twitter.com/smAshomash. And one of the things that we do at smAsho is we've got a forum. So if you head to smAsho, there's a link to the forum there, or you can just go straight to smAsho/forum. If you want to read about what our mission is, head to smAsho/forum/mission, and it'll tell you all about it. The main aspect is the pursuit of an ongoing formation of a unified theory of physics. We won't talk about it in depth today. It's the daily space weather video. One of the things we do for fun over at smAsho/forum is write parody lyrics. So I've just authored a new one here, and for our regular viewers, you may remember when we were doing songs like this, just the good old smash, never meaning no harm. Beats all you've never saw, been in trouble on social media since before it existed. Yeah, we put all real lyrics because it's funny, because it's real. I would also invite you to check out Our World in Data. It's ourworldindata.org. A lot of interesting resources over there for you, where you can take data that people are crunching and they don't understand at all. And what's this? By the way, thanks to our patrons. Please follow us on Instagram as well. We're nearly at 500 followers now, despite having a page since 2016. I attribute this to shadow bans. All right, now, thanks to our YouTube viewers, please press like and subscribe over there. Press the notification bell to receive notifications when we upload a video. Don't forget to check out yesterday's Smash Lights video. It's got a very low viewership so far. That was put up 18 hours ago. You can see that in our playlists. We've got playlists for Smash Lights and various other things like cosmology segments. And thanks to everybody who pressed like and subscribe. Thanks to everybody who shared on your social media. This is SNN, Least Busted Name in News. And let me get rid of the scrolling marquee since I didn't rewrite it today. We usually have interesting messages in there. Don't forget to read the scrolling marquee when it is visible. Also, please branch out into alt tech. Thanks to our new subscribers over at BitChute. BitChute.com/smashomash. You can find the Smash Lights segment over there, as well as exclusive videos. When we get demonetized on YouTube, we pull them down from YouTube because we do everything we can to fight against shadow bans, censorship, fraud, lies, scams, etc. BitChute.com/smashomash. And again, also don't forget to check out Facebook.com/smashomash. Minds. We're on Minds as well. minds.com/smashomash. We're also on Gab. And we are streaming live today to Twitch. It's twitch.tv/smashomash. If you want to see the daily space weather videos when they come out live, there's where you would do it. Thanks to all of our followers over at Twitch. And they've got a great mobile app, by the way. And we are going to do another video today. I don't know if it'll be a Smash Lights segment. It might just be a This is SNN. Today's not going to have a cosmology segment. We may do one later if we find something interesting to talk about. And let's get back to the daily space weather data. As we're objective about the information, and we're not ossified in our beliefs as we would prefer, to adapt to new information as opposed to attempting to gaslight those who would cite the real facts. Anyway, here's the real-time solar wind information. It's currently at 2.76 protons per cubic centimeter in terms of density and 372 kilometers per second. Nothing else too exciting to talk about there. Let's look at cosmic rays as we haven't done it for a while. First, the Apatity and Barentsburg neutron monitors. There's Apatity, there's Barentsburg, and they're both flat over the past 30 days. Next, we'll look at Athens, Greece, going much farther south, as Barentsburg and Apatity are close to the Arctic Circle. There's Athens over the past 30 days, pretty flat. Next, Mexico City. By the way, this one you can view archival data in one of the many reasons why this current solar minimum that we've just come out of was not as minimal as the last one. Cosmic ray flux was higher around 2010 than it is today, and I don't care who tells you that it's higher now than it was back then. It's simply not true. And don't send me links to the Thule neutron monitor. I will laugh and laugh, because the Thule neutron monitor's data is crap and belongs in the trash, as it shows completely flat cosmic rays and then a big spike in the past like 2 years, and then it's completely bunk information. It doesn't even need to be debunked. Anybody with any semblance of knowledge about what a cosmic ray is would know that there's no way that that's happened at Thule. Throw that neutron monitor right in the garbage. Here's Oulu, Finland, and over 30 days it's flat. This one, by the way, shows the historic graph going all the way back into the 1960s. And by the way, that's shown right on the homepage of spaceweather.com. I don't know why people are in denial about it. I guess it has to do with their funding and their book deals and their YouTube views and their fear-mongering, and they're convincing people that a bunch of things are going on in the physical universe that are completely unprovable and fueled by nothing other than conjecture. Here's DOMC Antarctica, which is also flat over the past 30 days. Feel free to monitor cosmic rays yourself. If you see anything weird, drop us a line. smAsho@gmail.com. Global geomagnetism is pretty low here at a 1 for the KP index, a measurement of global magnetism. And let's look at the Geospace Magnetosphere movie. We've got the full 4 hours of data today. Yesterday there was some missing data and some seriously anomalous looking data. I think it was showing us 15 minutes of data instead of 4 hours. And since it refreshed, we'll let this play through. And if you're wondering if the dermatitis on my face from wearing masks has cleared up, the answer is no. It's over a week since I've put on one of those ear loop surgical masks, and I still have dermatitis all around my ears, my chin, and all over my face. Here is the ground magnetic perturbation map showing geospace magnetic perturbations from the ground perspective. And welcome to the polar excursion. There's a North Pole over here and a North Pole somewhere up here and the South Pole somewhere down here, making the net North Pole over here, and it's pretty weird. So we show the ground geospace magnetic perturbations every day on the channel for that reason. Anyway, there's 4 hours of data there. We don't see any solar flares. No major high-energy photons coming out according to the GOES 16. If you're up before dawn, you may see a pile-up in the eastern sky. Just north of the ecliptic, you might see Venus, the Moon, and Mercury, although you probably won't see Mercury because the Moon and Venus are way too bright to allow that. I like to use in-the-sky.org. Here's where planets and so on are in the solar system. There's where we would expect things to be in a week, assuming Nibiru doesn't pop out from behind the planet and go and fly directly into Uranus, because that would cause a planetary shakeup. There's the GOES magnetometer 3-day chart, and we're going to see some continued spikiness. We're going to see some of this kind of behavior going on in the GOES magnetometer if nothing suddenly changes on the sun. Here's why I say that. It's a top view ecliptic plane field plot, part of the Gong 2 data. We are solidly in the North Pole current sheet, shown here in green. Nothing else to comment on there, except here's where all of those spiky readings are going to come from. Right here. And by the way, if you're wondering, this equates to low GOES magnetometer readings, and this area here would equate to higher GOES magnetometer readings, assuming the field force line makes it all the way through. And if you're wondering, PFSS stands for Potential Field Surface Source. Here's the coronal hole field plot. Shout out to Eugene Bagashov. And you can see the polar coronal holes are still polar. It also shows the B field in blue. Here's the line of sight field plot, which also shows you the Z fields, the solar polar fields shown in green and red. And since most of the activity has been in the south, you can see the B field being pulled down here toward these sunspots, which is no surprise to those of you who've watched our videos. And lastly, looking at the coronal field plot, keep in mind the corona has a lot of chaotic processes happening in it. And we just like to show the data because it's showing the corona's potential field surface source lines, closed ones in purple, open ones in black. I'm sorry, coronal hole potential field force lines in purple, closed potential field force lines in pink, and open potential field force lines in black. Next, let's take a look at some electrons. And this is just a visualization of where satellites are and so on. Keep in mind, folks, the total electron content forecast shows the entire thermosphere all the way from GPS satellites down to the ground level, giving us a good visualization of that. We don't see any charging hazards right now. We're in a moderate range here for electron flux. Expecting a small uptick, probably getting slightly into warning levels here once again. There is the cratered electron flux. As we have just come off of a coronal hole wind stream, I would concur with this forecast for an increase in electron flux. Here is the total electron content forecast. We do see some anomalies here once again over North America and Canada. Some surprisingly high levels of electron flux up there. And this is the image that shows the whole air column all the way from the thermosphere down. And I'll let that roll through a second time here for you. And this is a pretty predictable forecast for GPS errors and also for communication things, communication issues. Next, looking at just one slice of the atmosphere is the ionosphere map. This is the Australian Bureau of Meteorology ionosphere map. And it is looking a little bit anomalous here, but not particularly. Here's the latest image at 11:15 Universal Time. It's looking a little charged up on the nighttime portion there. Thanks to our patrons, the true source of content for the true source of funding for the content, rather. Please consider becoming a patron. It's patreon.com/smAsho. We just uploaded a whole bunch of ringtones, and there are a whole bunch more coming. They're fairly silly. I like to use them for my alarms. And thanks to our patrons, patreon.com/smAsho. And we just had a quake kickoff as I did show prep. A 4.3 near Stanley, Idaho. And let's go over the past 24. We did see a very deep quake near Fiji at a 4.6 magnitude and nearly 570 kilometers. A very deep quake at the Philippines, I think the deepest I've ever reported on there. A 5.1 at 567 kilometers, which happened at 1919 Universal Time. And let me just take a moment here to check the live stream, check the chats. All right, we are good to go. A deep quake at Argentina as well. Largest of the past 24 hours was a 5.5 at Nevada. Check it out. There's a location of that one. A 5.5. And that is almost due east of Mono Lake, north of the Silver Peak Range in the Monte Cristo Range. And going back to the list, also it wasn't a very shallow depth here at only 6.3 kilometers. And some aftershocks coming in from that. Have you heard about the Heard volcano? Well, it's been erupting. It's quite far south. It's not even really in the Ring of Fire. If you're wondering where it's located, there's where it is. Check out how far south this thing is. Way down there in between, whatever that is, the French southern and Antarctic islands. Way far south, the Heard Volcano, now erupting, producing some lava flows and so on. We'll get to it in a minute on volcanodiscovery.com. Suwanosejima exploding, 7,000-foot ash plume there. Ibu's exploding, 6,000-foot ash plume there. Dakono's exploding, 6,000-foot ash plume there. White Island, we've got an update on White Island. GeoNet reported that observations during the gas flight confirmed the presence of fine ash material in the plume. So there's some ash coming out as well as gas and ash. Observations from the flight show there is no substantial change in the location and size of active vents. The rainfall has formed a pool of water on the floor of the 1978/90 crater, reforming a shallow lakelet. During the past week, a small sequence of earthquakes has been located close to the volcano, and an increase of volcanic tremor has been recorded. Fuego's exploding as well, 15,000-foot ash plume over Fuego. Sangay exploding, 21,000-foot ash plume there. Sabancaya exploding, 24,000-foot ash plume there. Again, the Heard Volcano, effusive activity continues. Some lava flows, 2 of them actually. Please don't pole vault the caldera of Sabancaya. It's highly unlikely you'll be at Heard Island. It's in a pretty desolate portion of the world. Next, looking at some meteorology stuff, here are the jet streams of the Western world. Look at the extreme meridional jet stream bend here over the North Atlantic. I should say Central Atlantic. We've got the jet stream blowing nearly backwards there, so things like transcontinental flights will be taking interesting routes as a result of some of that stuff. Here are the jet streams of the Eastern world. Getting some cold weather injected into the Middle East. Check it out. Straight up from the geographic North Pole, right down into the Middle East. Next, looking at windy.com's pressure maps. Here's where they are now. Here's where we would expect them to be around noon tomorrow. Thanks to our new viewers, if you're wondering where I'm located, we are located here. smAsho staff and I are located here in eastern Pennsylvania in the Lehigh Valley. Next, we're going to look at lightning, courtesy of lightningmaps.org, the site that I like to use to convince my friends that I'm Odin and my foes that I'm Thor. There's where lightning strikes are currently happening. It's a real-time lightning map. Next time you hear thunder, maybe check it out. It actually even shows you the way the sound waves would be likely propagating. And that one's not fresh enough. We do see some lightning associated with this hurricane remnant. Here's the GO16 lightning mapper, giving you a little visualization there. Next, looking at the U.S. Doppler radar map. There's still some snowfall in there in the north-central portion of the country. And the rain in the east has taken its good old time to move out, as there's some dry air mixed in there. We'll get to it. First thing we're going to do is we're going to show you a close-up of that hurricane remnant. Center the map near the Outer Banks. Oh, and by the way, for all you conspiracy theorists, those aren't chemtrails. The resolution on this map is 2 kilometers. Just a fun fact for all of you chemtrail enthusiasts who should probably take a physics class. Just one. Just take one. You'll stop believing in chemtrails. And next, looking at the water vapor map here, we're going to zoom in on that same region. That should give you a good idea for all of you Mid-Atlantic viewers. Shout out to all of our local viewers who are viewing based on knowing me in real life. Thanks for tuning into the Daily Space Weather. I would remind you, that all of your weather comes from space. And let's look at this flexure point here where the jet stream is blowing in some dry massive air. As we like to zoom in on pressure gradients. And for you meteorology noobs, keep in mind that dry air is more massive than moist air, which creates high pressure. Yes, it's more massive. It's more massive, more viscous. And it all has to do with the molecular mass of N2, atmospheric nitrogen. It's more massive than atmospheric water. And here ends today's meteorology lesson. By the way, thanks for flying American Smashways. Please keep your head and arms inside the smash plane at all times, as we don't want to have to put out any more fires than we already do on the regs. We've got bonus features. We're going to show you the 48-hour SDO video of the local yellow dwarf, otherwise known as the sun. We're going to show you the colorized magnetogram and the intensitygram to show you the status of the umbrae associated with the sunspots. So here's your colorized magnetogram. There's the full disk view. Here's sunspot 2781. Still significant leading umbra there. Here's what never turned into a sunspot. Sunspot 2783 never really happened. And sunspot 2782 looks like it's degrading a bit. Here's the intensitygram. Let's go backwards. There's sunspot 2782. It's still beta class, as we see an umbra here and an umbra here, increasing the likelihood of solar flares a little bit. No umbra associated with that middle region. And sunspot 2781 is now alpha class. As we don't see any opposite polarity trailing umbrae. Here's the 94 angstroms view, and we're going to leave this zoomed in on the southern portion of the sun, as that's where most of the activity is occurring. Thanks for tuning in. Allow me to vanish. Welcome you to the Neo-Renaissance. And give you well wishes, hoping that the solar wind remain at your back and the covidiousy absent from your universe. For